morning to Professor A.B. Gupta and the participants who are uh, attending this program on curriculum design and evaluation. I feel lucky, and you also must be lucky because this area of curriculum and evaluation is an area which is not understood very well by all the fraternity of faculties. Just to start with the things, the words which are there: philosophy, curriculum decisions in technical education. All of you working in polytechnics and engineering college are aware of that you are trying to take decisions about the curriculum at various levels. For example, when you are at a national level, you are taking decision about the education at the national level. When you are at the state level, you are taking decision at the state level. When you are at institution level, you are taking decision education at and when you are at head of the department level, you are taking decision about the curriculum or education at the department level. And when you are in classroom, you are taking decision again of education, and that we call as instruction. Many people in many countries, what they call is that all this education which is there, because the heart of education is curriculum. And when we are working at a national level, whatever people are managing, they are also doing curriculum development at a macro level, and they call it as education planning and management. State level also, they do curriculum development and they call it education planning and management. But when it comes to the institution level, when you are taking care of the courses, we call it as the curriculum development. And when we talk about the teacher level, we say it is a curriculum development at a micro level, and that is only, you can say, sometimes we call it as instruction also. So it means, therefore, wherever level we are working, we have to deal with the curriculum. If we don't understand what it is there at the classroom level, at the department level, at the institutional level, at the state level, at the national level, probably we will not be able to play the role. This curriculum has been there in existence for the last 10,000 years. This curriculum or education has been there for the last 10,000 years, where it was there that, earlier times, students were different, teachers were different, approach was different, method was different, media was different, and the requirement of the society was also different. So you can say very well that history of education or history of curriculum development is of not recent origin, but it is of the 10,000 or 5,000 or 15,000 years, where the man started learning himself and started teaching his children also. You must have seen that in your time when you studied and when you are teaching the students, the things have also changed. Students are different, society is different, culture is different, teaching aids are different. So everything what you are doing in education or implementing the curriculum, that is, or designing the curriculum, that is getting changed with the times. If everything is getting changed, it means, therefore, that the objective of education which you are imparting to the children or students or youth, that is also changing. So it means 10,000 years earlier, What was the education objective based on what were the students, what were the teachers, and what were the society requirement, what was the culture, what are all aspects which were there. Those were different. Based on that, the education objective of that time was decided, and based on that, the curriculum for the students were decided. And maybe after maybe 300 years, what happens, they started thinking that the earlier method of apprenticeship is not applicable. Apprenticeship means guru shishya parampara, which was there, that will not work now. We will have to go for classroom. And then what happened, education converted or came to the classroom. And now you can very well imagine that during Corona time, you have seen that classroom has gone, and now the other system has come in which you have to use the education media for instruction. So it means as the time is passing, as the society is changing, as the time is, culture is changing, economy is changing, political system is changing, requirement is changing. All these aspects result in a change in the education objectives which are to be there. So education objective, which is the, you can say, the starting point of any curriculum, whether you talk about national level or talk about state level or you talk any level, what is there, they are the starting points. And education objectives are decided on the basis of the philosophy of education. Philosophy in Hindi is called darshan. Philosophy in Hindi is called darshan. Darshan means vichardhara. So when you are planning the curriculum at national level, curriculum at state level or institutional level or some level, some people are there who have to sit together and find out what is the student today, what is the requirement, and basis on all aspects which are affecting, they have to collect the information, and from there they have to decide about what should be the objective of the education. When I am talking about education, you understand indirectly, because the heart of the education is curriculum at all level. Therefore, what is there is, if you have to take a decision about curriculum also, you have to take into account all aspects which are there. आपने thing is called sieve. Sieve कहते हैं छाननी. Sieve कहते हैं छाननी. So, matlab, what I am saying is that all aspects which are affecting the education, those are to be taken care, and they are to be put in the sieve, and the end result will be that the education objective. So it means the people who matters, they have all considered political, social, cultural, psychological, discipline, industry, all aspects they have to take into account. And then they have come to a conclusion that this will be the education objective of the education system. You are well aware that we have recently in 1920, we have developed a national education policy. National Education Policy 2020 we have developed. National Education Policy is what? They have come up, they have found out what was the challenge of education. They surveyed the country as well as the world and found out that what is our vision for India. And based on the vision of India and the development which are happening in the nation and what is the sort of population, etc., they come to the conclusion that for this country, we should have a education policy. So indirectly, education policy is also an outcome of the philosophy philosophy of the education, philosophy of the various aspects related to the education, on the basis of which they have come. What is the goal of education? What is the aim of education? What is the structure of education? What is the level of education which is required? What are the type of qualifications which are required? What are the type of curriculum which are required for all the courses, and basis on that they have. And then further also, that what should be the curriculum objective, program outcome, what should be curriculum outcome, course level, and knowledge, etc. So it means, therefore, that when we are talking about the philosophy of consideration as regard curriculum, it means we have to consider all the aspects which are affecting the curriculum at various levels. Although we normally say curriculum is at the course level, but as a person, educationist, I consider that curriculum is a bigger term because it is used by different people in a different sense. I consider it as a big thing, in which when we are talking about national level, we can say curriculum at macro level, and we can say education planning and management. And when we say at lower level, then we say at an institutional level, it is curriculum at department level. And when we talk about curriculum at subject level, we say is a curriculum at a small course level. Another, so just briefly, this is the concept which I've given to you. When you are thinking about curriculum, curriculum is not one day, it is for the last 10,000 years. Initially, requirement of children were different. Teacher was there, apprenticeship was used. Then 400 years back, when Industrial Revolution came, we started with classroom, and the requirement changed. The objective of education also changed. And in the present context, I have said that education objectives have been decided in the national education policy, in which also they have taken all the considerations. In the present time, you know very well, things are very ambiguous, things are very volatile, things are very uncertain. And in this present scenario, what I consider is that teacher, head of the department, principal, everybody who is there, he will have to work as education entrepreneur. Earlier, he was working as an administrator, maybe 400 years or 200 years back. Then he became manager. Then he became leader. And in present, uncertain, and ambiguous and uncertain situation, what is required? Teacher has to become as a entrepreneur of education. So I consider teacher who is working in a classroom, he is also a entrepreneur. Teacher who is working at head of the department level, he is the responsible for the whole curriculum. Principal is responsible for the all curriculum which are there in the institution, and state directorate is responsible for all curriculum which are being implemented in the state. And same way, at national level, the Ministry of Education is responsible for the national education policy, which gives the total guidelines of the the education in all fields, how it has to be designed and implemented so that it can give the desired results. If this aspect is very clear to you, that as a India, when we are talking about education, we have education is a, you can say, a state subject, and as at national level we only give the guidelines. Otherwise, what happens, that the state has to manage all the education aspects. And in that aspect, what I want to say is that head of the department has the great responsibility about the curriculum at the can say course level. You have been given a lot of ideas regarding the curriculum during these 3 days, and you know very well that what are the things, or what are the things on which we have taken decisions. If you start from this, first of thing is that you have a analysis stage. You are having the analysis stage in which you have taken a decision about seeing the surveying, everything, and to find out what is the, what is the polytechnic or engineering college, what is their vision and aims. Then you have also thought of what is the, you can say, is there any special requirement of the institution? Then you have come to the conclusion that what is the manpower requirement. You have also come to the, you have been able to find out what is their job roles. Based on job roles, then you have come to what is the philosophy of the course. And based on that, you have been able to decide about the objective of the program. Some people call it as program education objective. So you have been able to decide about program objective. Then you have come to the design, and in design also you have been able to come to the conclusion what are the program outcome. In program outcome, you have taken into account what is the type of the course, isn't it? Is the course is preparing specific students for a particular occupation, or it is preparing people for various occupation? Does the program outcome is only related to that job only? Does this program outcome includes the individual requirement? Does this program outcome includes the discipline requirement? So we take a decision about program outcome. This is one aspect. Then we take a decision about what are the, areas in which experience have to be given to the students. Then we take a decision how the, topics have to be, how the subjects have to be organized. Then we go for details about the content and knowledge to be included in the each subject. Then we go for how knowledge has to be organized. Then we go for how take decision how these we will do the evaluation of the learning experience given to the student so that it is there. Then there are other method, media, etc., on which we also take decisions. So there are a lot of decisions which are required to be taken in the curriculum. And whatever you have been doing 2000 years back or 500 years back, you cannot utilize that knowledge, historical and philosophical knowledge, which is there, you have acquired for this, for the designing or implementing the curriculum in present times. So it is very essential that whether you are at a teacher level or you are at a head of the department level or institution level or state director level or national level, that you have to be clear. You should have a knowledge about history and philosophy, historical and philosophical perspective or foundations of the curriculum of the subject area or the field in which you are working. If you don't have that thing, then what will happen? That maybe somewhere you have failed and you will start repeating the same mistake again. For example, I will take a simple example which has happened recently in the National Credit Framework, which they have developed. I pointed out, and people understood also. Earlier, what we were saying, we are aligning the curriculum straight away from the national occupation standards. Now they realize it cannot be directly done. We will have to find out it is a different thing. We cannot prepare people to the levels. If they would have seen the things earlier, probably this would not have happened. So what is required is that we should, each one of us who is a teacher is as I mentioned, he's a technical education entrepreneur. When you are an entrepreneur of a classroom in instruction or a department, you have to understood what is the history of this course in civil engineering. at Polytechnic or engineering college? What was the philosophy 200 years back when this mechanical engineering course was started? What the changes has happened? For example, you know very well that in India also we have got some courses which are academic courses in engineering, which are being run in, like, let's say, IIT and other institutions. But there are certain institutions which are doing specific courses for developing technology and engineering experience to the students, like course in rail engineering, course in solar engineering. So these courses are not developing only the people who are generalized, having generalized capabilities for working in the field, but they are being developed the specific capabilities of managing the systems. So what I feel is that it is very essential that each one of us, wherever we are working as a polytechnic or engineering college or any higher levels, we should have a clear understanding of what is the and philosophical historical and philosophical historical and philosophical consideration taken into account in the curriculum design at various times. In addition to that, I have given you the example. You have also to understand what are the factors affecting the decision about the curriculum. For example, they must have talked to you that social, economical, political, cultural, educational, technological, individuals, disciplines, all these factors are there which affects the decision in the curriculum. So both the things, you have to have a study of history of that course. You have to have also study about कि भी समय समय पर उन्होंने उसके कोर्सेज के ऑब्जेक्टिव जो थे, ब्रॉड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, क्या डिसीजन लिए और ब्रॉड डिसीजन लिए कैसे चेंज किए, उनके क्या इफेक्ट हुए, और उसके बाद में क्या उन्होंने उसको चेंज किया तो क्या किया। और आज के टाइम में जब हमने नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी बनाई है, तो इस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में हमने अपना एजुकेशन के जो है उसका क्या एम रखा है। You must be aware of that the aim of education in the national education policy is that we are visualizing that India will be a developed country by 2035 or whatever it is there. We are also visualizing that all economic activity of ours will be diverted towards certain areas whereby we will be resulting in the be first in those areas in few years. Third, we have also come to the conclusion that when we have to be first in these areas in the future, what are the manpower required? Once we have come to the manpower, then what is the status of the manpower available, and how can we have this manpower generated from our existing institutions as well as the new institutions? Not only that, we have come to the conclusion that this manpower which is required to be there in future, it will have these capabilities. And based on these capabilities, we have come to the conclusion that the courses which are to be there, those courses are required to be of this type. Curriculum ought to be this type: multiple point credit system, flexible, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, etc. So coming back to the point which I was talking about, that education objective is the core thing from which everything follows. Okay. Everything follows, and then it results in achieving the education objective by following the things. And curriculum is very important. That has to be, taken care. So 2, 3 points I have touched. First is educate. Philosophy is very important. Philosophy is not static. Philosophy is dynamic. It is required it is required to be seen how it has happened, and then one has to change the system in such a way that your present philosophy of education is able to meet the present requirement. Then I have said that teacher role is very important. When I am talking about teacher, I am only talking about education entrepreneur, which are acting at various level. They are managing the curriculum of the courses at different levels. For example, if you are all teachers, you are managing, you are deciding about the object, you are deciding about the content, isn't it? You are deciding about method media, you are deciding about evaluation. You should also be aware of at the total level also what is there, so that you can correlate your instruction with the curriculum. So it means therefore curriculum understanding at all levels is required. Then we have said that curriculum, when we are talking about at the course level, which you have been introduced, many decisions are required. And for each decision, it is not that you two people sit together and take a decision. What is required is people having idea about the whole course, history, etc. They have to take decisions. So I just want to review certain PowerPoints which will clarify the things which I have talked about. If you are certain where you are going, you may very well end up somewhere else and not even know it. You should be very clear where you are going. Goal has to be clear, or education objectives are to be clear, whether you are talking about national level or state level, wherever you are talking. And if you are clear, then only you will be able to achieve the goals. If education objective is so important, it is very essential that you should know that you should know about the philosophy of education. Then only you will be able to decide the education objective. And for philosophy, as I mentioned to you, you have to have a lot of ideas about the historical perspective and other things. NEP 2020, a national policy is a broad course of action or statement of guidelines adopted by government at national level to pursuit of national objective. Broader the scope of a policy is, more problematic it becomes. So what is the policy has been decided to achieve the national objective. How national objective have been achieved? You know very well. So much discussion, 3 years, 4 year discussion was there. Everybody was saying, yeah, our requirement is this. Earlier we were this. This has happened. Foreign countries is happening like this. And then ultimately came to the conclusion. The NIP 2020 aims at educating population in different fields for fulfilling vision of a developed nation, national development goals by 2030, as well as improving the quality of life of people. So these two aspects are very important, that we have made a vision, and based on that vision, we have come to the national objectives of the country. If analyze the challenges, it analyzes the challenges in economy, society, education, environment, etc., and provides guidelines for the education structure and system to achieve national development goals. This is what I've said, that when you are thinking about national objective, you have to think about national objective of development, national objective of education. In both the things, you have to take into account economy, you have to say society, you have to see environment, you have to see political system, isn't it? As I mentioned, we have got education is a state subject, and provide a guidelines for the education structure and system to achieve national development goals. So all from in NEP 2020 also, they decided about national goals, then they come to the education objectives, and from education objective, take a decision about what should be the education structure and system to achieve national development goals. This is very clear to you. The NAP 20 entails towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary education to develop all capacities of human being, intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral in an integration manner. So what I'm saying is the difference between the earlier philosophy of education and present is earlier we have focus HRD, human resource development. Now we are focusing on education. The meaning of education is that we are concerned with the holistic development of the person. Holistic development means उसके पूर्ण विकास के बारे में हम सोचते हैं. This has been taken from the UNESCO 4 foundations of education. What are the 4 foundations of education? Foundation, education किन 4 पिलर पर खड़ी है, उन्हीं पिलर्स को ख्याल में रखा है. उसमें है लर्निंग टू नो, लर्निंग टू डू, लर्निंग टू लिव टुगेदर एंड लर्निंग टू लर्न. Learning to know yourself, learning to know the knowledge, learning to do is related to the skill and problem solving, critical thinking, and learning to learn and learning to live together is related to the social aspect. This is a philosophical foundation of education recommended by the UNESCO. And they have taken also the thing from there, and they say that we are interested in development of, through education, we are interested in development of the person as regard his intelligence, his skills, his social capabilities, and then lastly is learning to learn. So this aspect is very important, that a more holistic and multidisciplinary education to develop all capacity of human being, intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral in an integrated manner. Broad areas of education. The NEP 2020 aims to develop education as well as skilled professionals, as well as sub-professionals and other manpower in various fields like engineering, management, law, etc., science education, medical, social science, etc., related to socio-economic and culture of the country. As I mentioned to you, that in 300 years back, our social, economical culture was different. Now it is different, isn't it? So if we would have applied or taken the idea about the same thing and we apply the same thing now, it will not work. I was talking to few of the principals of Polytechnic Engineering College, and he says, sir, what of the greatest problem which we are facing nowadays is students don't have a habit after COVID-19. Students don't have habit of staying in the polytechnics. They have forgotten how to sit at a place for 2, 3 hours, 4 hours. Not only that, their habit of sitting and learning has gone. And that has deteriorated the pass percentage in the polytechnics. He says hardly 30 to 40% students pass because they have forgotten how to learn the things. So while we are designing the system, curriculum, or we will have to take into account social, cultural, political, and other aspects and their effect on the philosophy of the educational objectives. Before I go for further, this is the education pyramid. We have come to the conclusion. As I mentioned to you, on the basis of philosophy, we have come to the conclusion कि nation क्या चाहता है, उसके ऊपर nation क्या चाहता है, we have taken decision what should be the national education objectives, and based on that education objective, we have come to the conclusion what should be our structure and systems. क्योंकि कोई भी आप जब करिकुलम डिजाइन कर रहे हैं, इस स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में आपको पता होना चाहिए कि क्या है. अगर स्ट्रक्चर नहीं पता है तो कई चीजें आप जो है करिकुलम की जो है, जो डिप्लोमा में चाहिए वो आप डिग्री में डाल देंगे, या डिग्री की जो है वो डिप्लोमा में डाल देंगे. You are well aware of this, that a student who is studying in postgraduate or acquiring the qualification of master's degree or diploma or certificate, you will find that the program education objective and program outcome for all these courses will be different. And for that also, you will have to take a decision. Professor Gupta and other people must have told you that the decision about program objective, program education objective, or program outcome, or curriculum outcome, or learning outcome, whatever you may say, all these decisions are taken based on studying what is the occupational requirement, what is the individual requirement, what is the social requirement, all, and what is the learning requirement. Based on the basis of all these requirements, we come to the conclusion of what is the program education objective and program outcome. Before I go further, I would like to know how many are you aware of what maybe from the participants. Can they also reply? I would like to know that how many of you know about National Skill Qualification Framework? Are you aware of National Skill Qualification Framework? Yeah, anybody? Yeah? Are you listening? Friends who are connected on our this. कहाँ पर जरा देख लेंगे गुप्ता जी? Are they connected?
Yes,
Yeah,
around
okay.
52.
Good morning to all the friends. Friends, I would like to know from you, are you aware of National Skill Qualification Framework? आप म्यूट करके जरा बताएं कि भी आपको नेशनल स्किल क्वालिफिकेशन फ्रेमवर्क के बारे में पता है? आपने क्या NEP 2020 पढ़ा है? Anyone? आपको क्या नेशनल बोर्ड ऑफ एक्रीडिटेशन का जो क्राइटेरिया है उसके बारे में कुछ पता है? Good morning, friends. I would like to, because we are talking about a very important topic, that is the philosophy for curriculum decisions, philosophy of curriculum decisions, decisions taken in curriculum. So for that, I would like to know from you, have you gone through NEP as regards the technical education, as regards your area? हाँ बताइए. Sharda Singh, would you like to say comment?
Sir, little bit about NBA accreditation process.
Have you gone through NEP 2020?
No, sir, not NEP 2020, but you asked about NBA, so I have a little bit knowledge about that
Very
process.
good, very good. But you have not gone through NEP 2020?
No, sir.
Anybody has gone through the National Skill Qualification Framework? If somebody has gone through, then please tell me for I have gone through. If you have not gone through, doesn't matter, because many times what happens, we are teachers, we are mainly concerned mainly concerned with our subject matter, and we don't we consider that this curriculum business or study of curriculum is the responsibility of the directed people. But I would request all the uh, teachers who are concerned that maybe you should have the expertise in your subject matter, but you should also study the related areas which will enhance your productivity, which will enhance your credibility, and which will make you a good education entrepreneur. I told in the beginning itself that all of you are technical education entrepreneur. Who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is that person who set up a certain thing and run it, make profit, isn't it? And become happy. What are you doing? You are also doing when you are, a teacher or head of the department or principal. You have a group of teachers, a big group of students. You are planning for their education, and you want to give them education so that they are able to settle in life, and they get name and fame, by which you also get the credit of that. So once they flourish, once they do good in life, it means you have set up a good organization. You have good business, good setup. So my humble request to all teachers who are there, that because you are an entrepreneur, and if you don't bother about what is happening in the related areas to your profession, what will happen that sooner or later you will be teaching irrelevant things to the students, and you will be only concerned with teaching him. You will not be concerned with how they fare in the life, how they do the things. And humble request to all of you is that study these NEP 2020, because it gives the philosophy of education and it gives guidelines also, so that you can introduce that things in your teaching also. For example, I'll just give you example here, that in this you will find that they have given that what should be the competencies developed in the students. For example, this, it is given in NEP. Life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, resilience are must for students to play their role in life. Creativity and critical thinking to encourage logical decision making and problem solving. Ethical and human and constitutional values like empathy, respect for others, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit, spirit of service, respect for public property, scientific temper, liberty, responsibility, pluralism, equality, and justice. If you go through these national education policy or NBA criteria for program evaluation, you will be able to find out that these are the things which are required to be developed in students while you are teaching him in a subject or you are implementing the curriculum at the course level.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, myself, Dr. Monal Datto. I mean, whatever you were telling about the NEP, actually, you are in a process of NBA accreditation. So you have gone through this part of the NEP 2020,
Very
and
nice.
yes, yes, sir. And all of the points you have just noted down, this comes under the various POs actually. And since it is an OBL kind of a system, object-oriented learning, so we actually design our coursework by keeping in mind all these things.
Very nice. Good. This is what I want to say, that a teacher in the present context, not in 100 years back or so, he has to be aware of what is the expectation of the regulatory bodies, NAC and NBA, because
Yes, sir.
they are talking about the curriculum. What is
Yes,
their expectation? And
and these
that also,
particular POs will be mapped with COs only.
yeah, yeah. And similarly, what is there in NEP, that has also to be taken care. What is being expected from NSQF? All these are the things which are, on which the decision has to be taken. People who are taking care of the curriculum of technical education. And unless you teachers or the head of the department or principal are aware of these things, probably what will happen, you will not focus on that. And thereby what will happen, that the students who are being developed through the curriculum, isn't it, although they will be good in their subject matter, but what happen, they will not, they will miss the certain aspects which are very essential as regards the present day challenges which are coming to the education system.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So my humble request to you is, all teachers, head of the department, principal, directorate officials, that they should not only focus on the subject matter which is being taught, they should also try to see that, as I mentioned, that the foundation of education are that we have to have learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to learn. And in present context, in the present time, learning to be creative. Learning to be creative, learning to take care of the green climate, green economy, etc. So you as a individual, you can think of in the present context, what can be the philosophy of training the students, and what are the considerations to be taken care, and those considerations should be taken care in the curriculum which you are doing. Unless you do that, you will find student will be misfit. As I mentioned to you, COVID has resulted in affecting the learning of the students. So you will have to think of now. And probably you must be, because I retired 5-10 years back, but you must be experiencing this now. That earlier the students used to see to the teacher, to the head of the department for guidance. Now they don't listen. They say we can do ourselves. Students are not going for formal jobs. Students are going for independent jobs, directly in contact with the platforms. So you will have to see that this is the present context in the institutions. And you as a teacher, as an entrepreneur, you have to build your own philosophy. It's very important. Gupta ji, this is very important. Teachers will have to have their own philosophy. Head of the department will have to have the philosophy. State directorate have to philosophy, so that with that philosophy you can train your students and make them able to settle in life, where they not only contribute to the knowledge profession, not only to the society, but to the country also. Philosophy has become dynamic now. You will have to, first year itself, you have to take care, see the interest of the students and guide them that हम ये पढ़ाएंगे आपको, ये जो करिकुलम है, लेकिन इसके अलावा अगर आप आज के समय के अनुसार आप जो है अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव को पूरा करना चाहते हैं, तो इसके साथ साथ आपको ये और करना पड़ेगा, जिससे कि 3 साल के बाद या 4 साल के बाद आप जो है उसको जो है आप पढ़ सकें, आप अपने आप इंडिपेंडेंट बन सकें. I would just like to continue with what I have been doing.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. I'm Dr. Shubhendu Bhandari from Maharashtra Institute of Technology, Aurangabad.
Yeah,
So
welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So the point you have raised regarding that, I want to share a thing related to our institute. They've structured a new scheme from the last year, that every student, apart from whatever the curriculum, whatever the course in the curriculum they will study, apart from that, they must have to pass secure a certain point in terms of co-curricular, extracurricular activities to pass the entire course. So that for every semester they must have certain points they have to score for co-curricular. That might be different way. That might be through some entrepreneurship, through some research paper writing, or any other activity related to co-curricular and extracurricular activities. And every students will have certain activity profile.
Very nice, very good, very good. This is what I'm saying. Each institution, still it is there. There are certain good institutions which are, although curriculum is same, but their vision mission of an institution is also a philosophy. They make their vision and mission in which they say that in addition to curriculum, we will have these things extra to the curriculum which will be imparted.
Yes.
Is it so? I am not saying that institutions are not doing. Institutions are doing it. But what I'm saying is, hey, in the present context, you have to be dynamic and relevant. And you can become dynamic and relevant by deciding what are the things, because of the philosophical thinking of yours, is to be added to the curriculum so that students become employable. And is it all right?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
So philosophy is very important, and for that purpose, although you are doing it, but you will have to concentrate more in the present time to achieve the goals. I will not cover the things which has been done by friends earlier, but I will just touch the point. So you can very well see here that philosophy also helps you in deciding about the education structure, which is the basis of curriculum design. Unless what we have changed, we have made, very well, bachelor's honors we have introduced. We have introduced fundamental foundation Anganwadi, and then we have also made some changes in the tertiary education, that is the polytechnic and others. So you have to have understanding of these things which will be helpful to you. The stages,
in this pyramid, where is diploma, polytechnic?
No, this is what I'm saying. Although it has not been stated here, but what I'm saying is that they have, after this here, secondary education is two type. 9th, 10th is one. After 9th, 10th, they have said secondary is 11, 12, which is the academic stream. Here itself in the National Education Policy, they have mentioned that tertiary education will be there. After 10 plus, tertiary education will be there. And in tertiary education, they have mentioned that there will be vocational stream. There will be vocational stream. There will be then, you can say, polytechnic.
Yes.
There will be polytechnic. There will be ITI. These are mentioned there. Isn't it? But what is there? The, thinking is going on at the polytechnic level as well as at the university UGC level, how these two are to be integrated. So coming back to the point which I mentioned to you, that education objective of the national objectives, education objectives are very important, and those are decided based on the philosophy. And philosophy is decisions are taken based on political, these all aspects, challenges of education, and from there, it as a sieve, it are filtered out and they are desired. This helps in your education structure and systems. And further also, all the decisions which are taken, you have to have historical and physical, philosophical aspects. And as regard the teacher is concerned, I said, for example, mechanical engineering, there also philosophy comes, because you take a decision as regard the objectives, content, method, media, evaluation, subject matter. So all the decisions which you have to understand also what is the structure of the knowledge. I was talking to my vice chancellor in IIT Roorkee when I was a student. He was Professor A.N. Khosla. He was the person who was the chief engineer at Bhakra. I went to meet him at his residence. He said, I was a student. He said, Anand, I am very surprised that so much things are being taught in the electrical engineering or civil engineering. But when I was a student in Roorkee University, then in that case, I was taught little about drawing, little about survey, and little about other areas. And by which that knowledge, I could design the Bhakra Dam. So, my dear friends, whether you are a teacher or a head of the department or principal, you have to think of what is the history of the subject I am, course I am introducing, what innovations were done earlier, and how can I develop a new philosophy. No, new philosophy of this curriculum, which will enable my students to learn quickly, learn things which are required, learn which will enable them to get career before they pass out the institutions. They are not robots, but they are the persons who can pick up the things and learn the things quickly. You have given so much experience to them in your institution level that they are confident to solve any challenge, any problem which comes to you, comes to them, whether it is for that discipline or interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary. Okay, let's come further. The stages FM up to the secondary are purely curriculum and pedagogical, designed to optimize learning for students based on the cognitive development of children. Cognitive development means intelligence related to the knowledge, brain. So the key overall thrust of curriculum and pedagogy reform across all stages used to be move the education system towards real understanding and towards reasoning rather than rote learning. How to learn and move away from the culture of rote learning as is largely present today. Education is a public service. Access to quality education must be considered a basic right of every child. The aim of education with not only cognitive development, but also building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individual equipped with the key 21st century skills. Yeah, this is also, they have derived from various challenges and all that, and they have come to the conclusion that this is a lighthouse. What I'm talking about, focus of education, is a lighthouse. Philosophy is a lighthouse, which is guiding to you, isn't it? What is to be, decided in the curriculum and which is to be implemented. So you can say philosophy is a lighthouse which gives you direction. You are going right or wrong. Are you going as in lighthouse near the sea? It used to be there, and the ships which were coming from far away places, isn't it? They used to see the lighthouse and they were changing their direction from 10-15 miles away so that they can reach at the shore. Same way, this philosophy of curriculum at national level, state level, institution level, and department level, or teacher level will give you act as a lighthouse for you, isn't it? For taking decision to become a technical education entrepreneur, which will make a student successful. When students are successful, you will see that you are able to set up 100 organizations because your students are successful. And you will get the happiness of that. The aim of education will not only cognitive development, but also building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individual equipped with the key for 21st century skills. Learning in education should be holistic, integrated, harmonious, enjoyable, and engaging. It is also very philosophy. Earlier, what happens? The teacher was 100 years back, teacher was the supreme. The students were not involved that much, but most of the time teacher were. But there were few teachers also who were innovative. They were not believing that what is there in the curriculum 100% that has to be there. They were using their innovative approaches, methods for teaching students. So the time has come now that each one has to be creative. Each teacher, each head of the department, each principal and directorate and higher level people to think of innovative ways how you can, engineer your education. What is the meaning of engineer a material? Engineer a material means making a final product. When we say as engineer, engineer material, raw material, what is the outcome of the engineer material? Outcome of is the product. So you as a teacher now, head of the department, you all working at the curriculum at different level, you have to think how we can engineer our students, engineer our education so that the product is acceptable by the society, by the community, by the industry. So they will not only be cognitive development, but also building. मतलब उसकी intelligence ही mind ही नहीं बढ़ाना है, उसकी skill भी बढ़ानी है, behavior भी बढ़ाना है, value attitudes भी बढ़ानी है. But also building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individual equipped with the key 21st century skills. Learning in education should be holistic, integrated, harmonious, enjoyable, and engaging. As I mentioned to you earlier, that there are 4 pillars on which the education is dependent. Learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to learn, and learning to how to be creative, learning to how to take care of the climate and environment. So if you take care of all these aspects while you are deciding about the activity or experiences which you are giving to the students as a part of the curriculum, as the philosophy developed by your institution, yourself, then it will work. There is an institution in Maharashtra. Although it is in curriculum, it is not given. They have taken a decision. We will have zero wastage of paper. Zero utility of paper. All we will have digital systems. Paper, what will be there? They will recycle it. They are saving lakhs of rupees. So what I'm saying, in this way, you can think of, or you are thinking, like the friend in Aurangabad, a very good polytechnic and engineering college. I have been there, and they are doing a lot of experiment. And I don't remember the name of the principal. He knows me also. But what I'm saying is, all institutions, polytechnic, you are at your own level, are becoming innovative, doing activities by which you can give better experience to the students, and you are generating resources also. But what I'm saying is, as I mentioned, you are all now become a technical education entrepreneur. And as a technical education entrepreneur, you have to think ways and means by which you can produce whole of the class, whole of the institution employable and good for society. Learners, self-learners, take the challenges, solve the problems. The key overall thrust of curriculum and pedagogy reform across all stages will be to move the education system towards real understanding and towards learning for problem solving in field, and take students away from rote learning. One thing you should, if you are able to, 21st century work competencies which are required to be developed. One of the thing is, the first topmost is critical thinking and problem solving. If you develop in this, the students, the philosophy is this, that our students will be problem solver. Whatever problem comes, they will not hesitate. Okay, नहीं कहेंगे ये मैकेनिकल की है, ये इलेक्ट्रिकल की है, ये सिविल की, नहीं, जो भी problem है, they think, critically think, and then solve the problem. And if you see the future work and future manpower requirement, they have identified 4 or 5 work competencies which are required in the students to face the challenges in 21st century. Those are critical thinking and problem solving. First, second is commitment. Third is communication. fourth is creativity, and fifth is empathy. There are others also, I am not telling you, but these are the four, and commitment. All are starting from commitment and C. So 4 is commitment or perseverance or resilience. If you develop these 4 competencies in your students, critical thinking and problem solving, commitment or perseverance or resilience, creativity, communication, empathy, etc. If you do, then they will be accepted by all. If you see the philosophy, taking account all philosophies, they have come to these conclusions. Multi-point entry, credit-based, flexible, and modular curriculum aligned to NHEF levels or NSQF levels and professional graduate competencies, as well as program outcome and learning outcome. This I have just taken from the NEP. This is, they have come to the conclusion based on what national objectives and then education objective, and based on education objective, they have come to these conclusions. You must have seen about NSQF only if you are from Polytechnic, but if you are from the higher education system, UGC system, they are talking about NHEQF, National Higher Education Qualification Framework. There also you will have to see what they are asking and then try to do. Calibrated to NAC or NBA criteria of program curriculum evaluation. As I may, fulfilling NEP 2020 expectation and quality standard ranking based global perspective of content and outcome. And curriculum teaching, learning assessment and award, 360-degree feedback and impact of high rank programs in view of the present status of curriculum of division, science, engineering, technology, and constraint. What I want to say is, whatever things are happening related to your field, you should be aware of. Nowadays, it is not that, as in my time, you are staying in Polytechnic, or engineering college, you are only confined to what has been given, curriculum, and you teach and then forget. You will have to remain up to date what is happening in your area and related area, so that whatever changes are happening, you try to incorporate in your. This you already has been talked about by my friend A.B. Gupta and others. I will not talk about, and this we can forward. This also has been talked about, but just 1 minute, because all these decisions what you take, isn't it, are based on certain decisions are taken, and for each decision, curriculum developers or teachers, whosoever are there, they have to ask these questions and answer this. And for that, they have to see what is happening in their field as well as related field. That's why I said, for example, if you don't see NEP 2020, if you don't see the NBA, if you don't see NSQF, isn't it? You will miss certain things, isn't it? So they have condensed the philosophy by giving the things there, and if you study those, the whatever philosophy things they have given, that will help you to take the decision relating to the curriculum. For example, what is the purpose and objective of teaching or instruction of a core subject? Whom to teach, what to teach, how to assess student, what are the resources required. You cannot take a decision. For example, many times in curriculum, they give a subject, and the good teachers, they prepare the tree of the subject, structure of the subject, सीढ़ी, सांप की सीढ़ी बना लेते हैं कि बच्चे को क्या क्या पढ़ाना है. वो जो कंटेंट दिया है, the content doesn't help you to how to teach. You have to take into account what type of students are there, and उनका क्या background है, कितनी knowledge है, क्या है, कैसे उनको content को teaching plan बनाएं, और टीचिंग प्लान बना के क्या क्या किसको कितना कितना टाइम दें, कैसी एक्टिविटी दें, कैसे उनमें हम सॉफ्ट स्किल डेवलप करें. ऑल दोज थिंग्स आर टू बी टेकन डिसीजंस, isn't it? And that is all required study of not only subject matter. You have to study the psychology of the students. You have to study various aspects. Then only you can take decision. Is it all right? If you don't take in view the various aspects, you may fail. बच्चे आप लोग बड़ा महसूस करते हो कई बार. गुप्ता जी बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है. Many times when I was a young teacher, some teacher used to come in teacher training. I was 24, 25. They used to threaten me, sir, if you have not given me the marks, probably I will see you outside. Isn't it? And if you don't have idea about how to tackle the situations, probably you will be in difficulty. And that decision, how to tackle them, books will not tell you. Or if you have not studied the psychology of students or andrology, you will not be able to face the situation. You will have to see the music. So what I'm saying, all these aspects which are there require the study of psychology, require the study of sociology, require the study of culture, economics, or political. All aspects are required to be studied, and then only you related to that, related to the problem, and then you will be able to solve this. Clear? Is it clear? Yeah, friends. इनका निकालें जरा किससे पूछे. Any question? Any question from the friends who are connected online relating to curriculum decisions? Yeah? Any friend who
No,
has?
sir.
Are you
No
understanding?
question, sir.
Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Is it properly audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you are understanding and what I'm saying, so I am very happy that you all have decided to get your clarifications regarding curriculum and evaluation, because it is the heart of any education at any level. And it is unfortunate that our teachers who are there, they are not exposed to or don't are able to get time for contributing research and training in curriculum and evaluation. I have been going to the university for teaching. When I ask them, okay, do you contribute to the curriculum? They say, we don't contribute to the curriculum because it is the responsibility of the third party. Gentlemen, when you are preparing a student and you don't own the curriculum which is given, you are free to add to the curriculum which is required for the students. And if you don't give to them what is required, which enables them to be earn their livelihood, then you are not able to do the justice. So my humble submission to all who are connected, please, in addition to the teacher, you become a person interested in improving the curriculum, isn't it? And bring your own thinking in the curriculum in preparing the students. I don't say you don't do it, but you have to do more so that the children or the youth who are coming to you give the best to that. Okay. मेरी एक फोटो खींच देना उसे. Sure. Okay. Okay. That's all. Teacher role has become professional. He has to be aware of happening in academic research and industry side relating to his field and related areas, and contributed in his role to enhance his accountability. Teacher and faculty, as the heart of the learning process, have to be self-learner for continuous professional development and certification. This must have been talked by Professor Gupta and others, that you have to, relevant, curriculum has to be relevant, up to date, future oriented, outcome based, student centered, dynamic, feasible to implement, comprehensive, easily understood by stakeholders, fully articulated, multidisciplinary, industry oriented, and hand on practice. And as I mentioned, that in present time, it has to be problem solving. Earlier it was there कि knowledge acquire करो, knowledge exam में दे दो तो result आ जाएगा. फिर था कि भाई education should lead to the change in behavior. And now the thing is education should enable people to solve problems. So ये भी philosophical change है. पहले था philosophical change है कि teacher oriented था education. Now it is student oriented. Student will be given the autonomy to decide about what he wants to teach. Is it clear? I give lecture to the various organizations, and where I find this is the feedback of teachers on curriculum. Curriculum design is considered as a function of external agencies. Teachers do not consider their any role in design, revision, and innovation in curriculum. In a way, status of teachers get diminished, improving curriculum. So unless you will own the curriculum and responsible for improving it, whether it is at one subject level or course level, you will lose your significance. Teacher is not there only to teach what is teaching in the class. Teacher is making efforts to make student learn. I will say teaching has happened when students have learned. If the students have not learned, I will say teaching has not happened. And that's why we are talking about outcome-based education. Learning outcome. Purpose is only that we will specify what the students will learn after the course is there, and then we try to do it. Because most of you teachers are not aware of the concept and then practice of curriculum design, success process, outcome, learning outcome, determining content of subjects and organization of content, decide ways, input, method, and media, and system of 360 feedback, and human values, ethics, importance in the life of professional, and research in curriculum and instruction. ये सारी चीजों पे डिसीजन आपको लेने पड़ते हैं करिकुलम में, लेने पड़ते हैं ना.
Yes.
और इनके डिसीजन आप मैं कह दूं तो नहीं मानना चाहिए. ये होना चाहिए कि इन सारी चीजों पे क्या हमारी कोई ट्रेडिशन है, कोई फिलॉसफी है, और अगर हम कि इनकी फिलॉसफी को निकाल सके तो बड़ा अच्छा होगा. गुप्ता जी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है. यूएस में 40 years बैक द ऑल एजुकेशन वाज साइंस बेस्ड एजुकेशन. जैसे हमारे यहाँ पॉलिटेक्निक इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में कि पहले साइंस पढ़ाइए, फिर उसके बाद बच्चों को सब्जेक्ट्स वगैरह पढ़ाइए. तो फोकस वाज साइंस एजुकेशन, बिकॉज सारे जो प्रोफेसर थे वो रिसर्च बेस्ड रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट ले रहे थे, रिसर्च करवा रहे थे, तो उस पे था. उसके 10-15 साल बाद उन्होंने कहा कि हम अगर केवल रिसर्च पे फोकस करते हैं तो वी आर लैगिंग बिहाइंड अदर कंट्रीज, चाइना वगैरह. तो देन द कॉन्सेप्ट चेंज. They say कि we will not focus on scientific research for future. We will have applied also. So universities got grant for developing equipments and training people who can manage the systems. So as the time has passed, as the requirement of the country is changing, philosophy of the courses are also changing. Isn't it? And now the mixed system is there. Some universities are focusing on research on new technology, futurist technology. Some are working on applications. They are taking the projects from the various big companies. In many professional courses, teachers are unable to distinguish requirement of associated skills, technology, and content. And why I am telling this? Because of the fact these are the things on which decisions have to be taken, and the curriculum developer should be well aware of this. because this NEP 2020 has been also decided by the group of people, not only studying the Indian requirement but of the international status perspective also. So you have to think. In many professional courses, teachers are unable to distinguish requirement of associated skills, technology, and concept and processes. In present time, teachers are required to understand structure of discipline for research work, relating tools and spread skills, digital technology. This is very important. Have you ever, जब आप पढ़ा रहे हैं अपने सब्जेक्ट की स्ट्रक्चर सोची है कभी? बहुत कम टीचर. I know one friend who is in Calcutta. He's in a polytechnic. I sent. He says I give to the students the Mukherjee, Mukherjee, Banerjee. Sorry, Banerjee. He says I give this exercise to the students कि इंग्लिश टीचिंग में पढ़ा रहा हूँ, इसका ट्री बना के लाइए कैसे पढ़ाना चाहिए. Students come with a innovative idea कि ये सब्जेक्ट कैसे पढ़ाना चाहिए. And if you, if each one of you who are teaching certain subjects, think of how the structure of the subject has changed in the last 100 years. Civil engineering के पढ़ाने में क्या 100 साल में change आया है? ये तो 5000 साल का है. तो जो सिविल का सब्जेक्ट है उसमें क्या चेंज आया है, सिविल के कोर्स में क्या चेंज आया है, you will immediately come to know that a lot of things have changed in that subject matter, and that will give you many idea how can you add in the tree of the subject the new areas which are coming. For example, electrical engineering, there was not so much electronics, so much computer and all that. When you are thinking about new curriculum, you will have to think of a new structure so that you can have a time for teaching these subjects. Otherwise, you will be loading the subject so much the students will not understand. A university course, although aims at developing competency to acquire knowledge, skill, and attitude for research in knowledge discipline, students one expected to acquire associated skills and technology in view of the emerging area. ये बहुत important है. What I'm saying is, आप लोगों ने देखा होगा जिन्होंने NEP 2020 पढ़ा है, तो उन्होंने कहा है कि जो भी हम कोर्सेज वगैरह करें, उसमें वो कोर्सेज तो हम करें ही करें जो पढ़ा रहे हैं, उसके साथ साथ उनको स्किल भी कराएं और साथ साथ हम कुछ और भी सब्जेक्ट कराएं. ठीक है? सो ये भी आपको ख्याल रखना है. ये मैं ज़्यादा नहीं लूँगा क्योंकि ये आप इसमें जो है काफ़ी चीज़ें मैंने बता दी हैं. एक और चीज़ जिसमें ये 12 पॉइंट, teachers and faculty as the heart of the learning process, continuous professional development and positive working environment are necessary conditions. ये बड़ा important. हम लोग समझते हैं मेरे टाइम में तो ऐसा ही था गुप्ता जी, एक बार पढ़ लिया we forget about, हमें और नहीं पढ़ना है. But in present time you will have to declare that you are a professional. What is the difference between professional and other? When you go to Canada, US वगैरह, they take your test from the knowledge, working also, actual also, and then they certify that you are a professional technical teacher. And they allow you to teach because they feel that if you are not a professional technical teacher, you will not be able to do justice to your teaching. So ask yourself, each one of you, see what is the requirement of a professional technical teacher. This is also a philosophy. कि भाई एक पॉलिटेक्निक में पढ़ाने में, इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में पढ़ाने में किस तरह का टीचर चाहिए, उसकी क्या क्या चीज चाहिए. सो वो जो करिकुलम में आप नॉर्म्स बनाते हैं उनको भी बड़ा स्टडी करके देना चाहिए सो दैट यू ऑल हैव प्रोफेशनल क्वालिफिकेशंस एंड यू लर्न योरसेल्फ एंड डू द थिंग्स. इफ यू डू दैट देन you will be able to do justice. Continuous review of progress based on the sustenance and research as required. We don't do any research. Malaysia, Singapore, everywhere, all teachers who are working in engineering college, you find lot of papers they give कि भाई कैसे हम इसको इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, कैसे सॉफ्ट स्किल्स बच्चों को सिखा सकते हैं, अप्रोच क्या होनी चाहिए, सब्जेक्ट में से कराएं या अलग कराएं, कैसे कराएं, प्रोजेक्ट्स में कराएं, कैसे कराएं. They are continuously doing research and adding to the system. isn't it? By which what is happening, their system is improving. And it is required that each one of us should make efforts to this. So at the end, I want to say this thing. You are lucky. You are lucky to be a teacher. You have more power than a. Please listen to me properly. Last lines. You are lucky to be teacher. You have got so much autonomy to decide what to teach, when to teach, how to teach, what resources to be used, how to assess the students, and how to see students flowering. It is up to you how much autonomy you want to utilize. But one thing is there, if you utilize this autonomy and have your own philosophy for the students and their course, the possibility is there that students will shine in all situations. And when they will come back to you after a few years in the institution, they will say, sir, you taught us so many things, and which has been helping us in life as well as in work. Thank you very much.